Every creator tells you to batch content, so sit down on a Sunday, plan a whole month of content, film everything in one go, schedule it, and then be done with it. It sounds perfect, but I have tried that, and honestly, it made me worse at creating content. And one of them, combined with AI, completely changed how I work. So let me walk you through all three so we can actually figure out which one fits for your brain. So first of all, this is the one that everyone talks about. At the start of each month, you sit down, plan every single piece of content for the next 30 days, all the ideas, all the scripts, all the thumbnails, everything mapped out in your content calendar. I get why people love this, because on paper it's beautiful. You can see the whole picture, you know exactly when everything goes out, it feels organized, you feel in control. But here's what actually happens. At least here's what happened for me. So you come up with 12 video ideas on a Monday, you feel great, life then happens, you don't start filming until the following week. And by then, you've sort of drifted from these ideas. The ideas that you were buzzing about 7 days ago now feel flat. You can't remember what was so exciting about it, but it's in your content calendar, so you now feel forced that you need to go ahead and create it. And forced content, even if it's technically good, it doesn't land the same way. The energy isn't there, and you can feel it when you watch it back. Another thing is, if something happens then mid-month, a tool drops that you want to talk about, an idea hits you on a Wednesday that genuinely feels better about something that you've had planned, you either ignore it because it doesn't fit in your content calendar, or you then go ahead and throw your calendar off by trying to squeeze it in. Monthly batching really works for people who already have a system dialed in. So if you've been creating content consistently for years, your content pillars are probably already locked. But if you're in the first 3 to 6 months of building a channel, which most people here are, this way of batching content is rigid in all the wrong places. I actually break down the full content system in my free community of how I now batch content. It's the first link in the description if you want to get your hands on that and see how I have it set up. The next one we have here is the weekly sprints. This is where I landed for a while. And honestly, it is solid. So at the start of each week, I'd usually sit down on a Sunday evening or a Monday morning, plan my content for the next 7 days, do 3 long form topics, maybe 5 or 6 short form ideas. I'd write them, film them, edit them within that window. And the reason this works better than monthly is simple. You are close enough to the idea that it still feels alive. It's probably because you've planned it 2 days ago rather than like 2 weeks ago. So when you sit down to film, you still care about that topic and you still remember why it matters. You also get to react to what happened last week. So if a video performed well, you can lean into that angle again. If something flopped, then you can pivot. You've got that short feedback loop, which is everything when you're still figuring out what your audience actually responds to. The downside is that you're always planning, that every single week starts with a planning session. And sometimes, especially if the previous week was heavy, you wake up Monday with nothing, like no ideas, no energy. And now you've got to plan a whole week of content and figure it all out from scratch. It can feel like a treadmill, not a hamster wheel exactly, but like you never actually get ahead. You're always just staying level with the week. And then the first strategy we have here is the same day creation. So this one sounds chaotic. For most people, it probably is, but hear me out on this one because it's genuinely where AI can change everything. Same day creation means you wake up, you decide what you're posting, you create it, you publish it. No planning buffer, no week ahead scheduled, just today's content made today. Without AI, this is stressful. You're starting a blank page at 8 AM knowing something needs to go out. The pressure of same-day deadlines can make content feel rushed, as in you don't get to sit with the idea, like you don't get to refine it much. But here's what I found when I started using AI properly in my workflows. The bottleneck was never the ideas. I always had ideas. The bottleneck was turning the ideas into a finished thing. Writing the script, structuring the points, creating the thumbnails, writing the caption, figuring out the hook. That process used to take me 3 to 4 hours per video. With AI, that process now maybe takes me 45 minutes to an hour, and that changes the maths completely of creating content. Because I can now wake up with a fresh idea, I'm genuinely excited to film about it right now, like today, and I actually execute on it before the excitement fades. I'm not trying to reconnect with an idea that I had 2 weeks ago. I'm riding that wave of whatever got my attention that morning. This is why fresh content beats that planned content. So there's something about creating content when the idea is alive in your head that you just can't fake. The delivery is different, the angle is different, and you can hear in someone's voice when they're actually buzzing about what they're trying to show you versus what they read through and scripted about 10 days ago. And this is the part that most batching advice misses. They talk about efficiency, they talk about consistency, but they never talk about alignment. So are you still aligned with this piece of content when you actually sit down to create it? Because if you're not, then the viewer can tell. Maybe not consciously, but they feel it and they just scroll. I actually have the content planning template that I use in this exact workflow linked in the description. If you want to go ahead and grab it, just go ahead and sign up to my free community and it's in the resources pack there. Now we move on to the hybrid approach and how it actually works. So here is what I'm actually leaning towards. And I think this is the move for most people, especially if you're using AI in your workflows. So I plan weekly, but I create daily, which means that on a Sunday evening, I sketch out 1 week's of content loosely. I then know roughly what topics I want to hit, which platforms I'm posting on, and then what content pillar each content falls into. Is it a teach? Is it a journey? Is it a proof? That structure just stays the same. But I don't write scripts in advance. I don't pre-make thumbnails. I don't try and batch 5 filming sessions on a Tuesday. Instead, each morning I pick the idea from the week plan I'm most drawn to right now. Sometimes it's the one I planned. Sometimes something better came to me overnight. I sit down, use AI to help me structure and script and outline the key points, write the hook, create the draft, and then I go ahead and film it whilst it's fresh. The weekly plan gives me structure, so I'm not waking up with zero direction. But the daily creation then gives me flexibility and energy. And it's kind of the best of both worlds. And honestly, the reason this is possible is because of AI. Like 2 years ago, the same day creation meant sacrificing quality. You couldn't write a solid script. Researching the topics, planning the visuals, and filming all in one morning, it's just something you could never do. But you can now, because AI handles all the heavy lifting on the writing and the structuring side, and you just bring the energy and the ideas. Because saying I use AI is vague, here's the actual workflow. I wake up, I then know from my weekly sketch that today is going to be a teaching video for YouTube. I look at the 3 ideas I jotted down on the Sunday and pick one that excites me most. Today is the video on batching versus not batching. I open up Claude and I say something like, here's my topic, here's my angle, here's who I'm talking to, help me build a script structure. Within 5 minutes, I've got an outline. I then riff on it, add my own takes, cut out whatever doesn't feel right, and then fetch out the bits that do. So the whole scripting process, which is usually the thing that blocked me for hours, now takes maybe 30 to 40 minutes. And the script is better than what I'd usually spend 3 hours on. Because AI gives you the structure and you bring the personality and the lived experience. And then when I film, because the idea is still fresh, because I've just spent 30 minutes thinking deeply about it, the delivery is then natural. I don't have to then go ahead and psych myself up. I don't need to reread my notes 3 times to remember what I was trying to say. I just go ahead and talk. And this is the cheat code. Not trying to batch harder, not trying to plan further ahead, just removing the friction between having an idea and creating the thing. So which approach should you use? And honestly, it depends on where you are right now. Start with the weekly planning and daily creation. Don't try and map out the whole month of content. You'll end up overwhelming yourself fairly quickly and nothing will then get published. If you've been creating for a while and you've got your systems locked in, monthly batching might work better for you. But even then, leave room for more spontaneous content. But then wherever you are, start using AI to compress your content creation process. Not replace your voice, not trying to make content generic, but trying to handle structured work so you can focus on being on camera. And I share my full AI content workflow and all the prompts I use inside of my free community, which is the first link in the description. And drop a comment below, let me know which approach you currently use. Are you a monthly batcher, a weekly planner, or same-day creator? I'm genuinely curious to see what you guys are. And if you think this was useful, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I post videos like this every single week, building an AI business from scratch and showing everything I learn along the way. So I'll see you in the next one.